Sears Brand Central. Prices may vary in Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico.
Denver's only drive-by talk show host. It's Late Night with Jann Scott on KNUS. So shoot your mouth off with Jann at 935-7100, or from outside the metro area, it's 1-800-533-0071. And now back to Jann Scott tonight.
Okay, so now you just gave me, we're talking with Vera Berdova, you just gave me the yellow sub in Boulder. The DEA tracked the yellow sub in Boulder, okay, which is a sandwich shop, and they discovered that the woman who managed the yellow sub was selling drugs there. They convicted her. She sent dope to someone in prison. Then what happened?
They seized the assets of the business.
And then what?
There was a big outcry in the community, and they eventually returned it.
Yeah, there was no big outcry. They showed clearly, the district attorney showed clearly that he was an absentee owner, and that he had nothing to do with his manager dealing drugs. They gave it back to him, and that's how the DEA operates. That was not an outcry in the community. You know who the outcry...
You don't take people's assets away
yes, you do if
before
you're a
they're
business.
convicted.
If you are dealing drugs through a business account, the DEA proved it. She ran the money through the business account, for crying out loud.
That's not what I heard.
I know exactly what happened there. I followed the case entirely. And then guess who showed up at the Yellow Submarine in Boulder to support him? The Hemp Initiative. Every single drug dealer and drug taker in Boulder showed up. I can't believe this. Let's go and talk with Bob in Denver. Bob, line 4.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. I have to agree with you, Jan. There's nothing that we can do about anything that is going on here.
What do you mean?
Well, we fought it, and it's almost a lost cause. Everybody I see around in Denver is doing drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't admit it. I mean, they don't openly come out. But the thing of it is, who are you going to turn in, and what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, I think if we need to talk about the nature of addiction and what the hell's happening to people, because we're getting hooked on drugs all over the place. It's a horror show out there, and we have to address that.
I understand that. I don't want my daughter to get involved with anything like that, but, you know, that's the thing. What do you do when you're not around them? And son of a gun. I mean...
Our society is not doing very well, and that is definitely a big, big concern. I think that the genius of America lies in solutions that have to do with the diversity of the country. There are many different subcultures, many different areas in America.
Has nothing to do with it when people are on drugs. You're missing the point here. The point is that we have an entire population that is succumbing to alcohol, drugs, and tobacco, and it is screwing us up horribly. And I'll tell you what I'm in favor of. I'm in favor of reenacting the 18th Amendment, prohibition, tobacco, alcohol, and all drugs. And, you know, take your marijuana book and throw it in the trash can.
And I'll bet you $100 against the potato that the country's going to cave in if that were done.
It's caving in now.
That's right, because we already have a bad enough drug war that's hurting us.
No, it's not the drug war. It's the people dealing the crack on the streets. It's the people taking the dope.
I agree with that.
See, it is not the cops. Thank God we have them out there, or it would be worse than it is.
Didn't we have gangs when there was the prohibition earlier?
We had gangs, but I'm going to tell you something. Violence went down in this country. Domestic violence went down. Rape went down. Death by alcoholism and drug abuse went down. Most Americans did not violate the law of prohibition. Most Americans were really happy we're here. And the fact that you're a woman, I'm going to tell you something. Women, because they were sick and tired of domestic violence, are the people who brought prohibition to this country.
You know, it's simplistic to blame something or somebody for the problems that people or a country has.
I'm blaming the stuff. I'm blaming stuff.
It's easy.
Dope.
Drugs are just
Dope.
an inanimate substance.
They are not an inanimate substance.
It's easy for people to take
They are,
communism,
no.
drugs, this
Drugs
and that.
are not
it's
an
always
inanimate
easy to
No,
find
that is
escape
another
from.
lie. That's another lie of the drug dealers. Drugs are not an inanimate substance. Jesus, they screw people up horribly, generally the first time out. Anything else, Bob?
Well, I was just going to say, why,
Are you a recovering addict or alcoholic, Bob?
yes.
I can tell. How is it that I know? You have a certain peace and understanding about you.
Well, I understand what's going on.
Okay.
And, no, alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of it is, you're not going to stop it. I mean, as much as they couldn't stop communism until just later. Now they still have communism in China, in Korea, and it's still an epidemic over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the guns over here, and the alcohol and the drugs. It's one battle after the next.
Well, Bob, come to King Supers tomorrow night. We'll see if we can at least reclaim one neighborhood. I believe we can stop the violence, and we can stop the drugs, and we can stop our kids from being killed. And I'm telling you, that's why I'm on radio, to see that happens.
Well, I believe in you, brother.
Okay, thanks for your call.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Let's go talk with Dan in Denver, line 1. Dan, how you doing tonight?
Well, first of all, Jan, I'm not a drug dealer.
Okay.
So I want to say, though...
How you doing? We've talked before. Did I see you down at the convention center?
That's right.
Yeah, it's good talking to you down there.
Okay.
I'm glad to see you out trying to stop the gang violence and the drug dealers and the crazy people, Dan.
Yeah, I didn't wear my 1960s wardrobe, though,
Right.
like Mr. Atkinson. But heaven forbid.
He was dressed in a golf shirt. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, still, if you don't wear the right clothes, I guess you don't have any civil rights, is what he's trying to say.
Oh, I don't know
It
about
was
that.
great to hear Roy Romer stand up for me, though.
Mm-hmm.
Roy was standing up for me there on that aspect.
He wants to see, just so everybody knows, Dan is a gun advocate. And Dan, we're going to have you come in on the show one night, and he had his Ruger hat on and had his had his military clothes on, et cetera, et cetera. And are you still there, Dan?
I'm here.
Okay. But go ahead, Dan.
Well, I want to talk to you about, I might have to show up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Down at King Sippers.
Good.
Might not be too welcome down there, but let's
No,
see.
Dan, listen, you're welcome, okay? I got to tell you.
What I have a problem is if Sean Slater can stand up and do his swastika stuff at the Capitol, but yet I go in certain places in Denver and get arrested for talking about the Second Amendment, it's just really scary, Jan.
Well, Dan, listen, will you help us clean up the streets?
Well, that's what I'm calling you about tonight for, is the message and the plan of attack. You can't really stop this with rhetoric.
No, but we can stop it with bodies.
Well,
So we put bodies on the street. We can
bodies make good targets for bullets.
No. But
you know, I'm not just straight like let's go vigilantism or something like that.
No, but I am, and I'm talking about the real sense of vigilantism. A vigil is when you have a mass of people in a neighborhood, say 50. Okay, in a neighborhood that come out and walk the streets in Dayglow orange shirts and ask the kids, what are you doing out here? Where are your parents? Why aren't you home doing your homework? Get to know, I call it community-based parenting. Kids want adults to pay attention to them. They're not going to shoot adults. They're not going to sit back when you have 50 adults on a street and shoot them. Those kind of kids are cowards. They want to shoot their own.
Well, there is some safety in numbers, but the only thing is
we do this with the cops too. The cops are going to be there tomorrow night.
Well, touch on what Vera was saying, though.
Right.
I don't want to get into that fray, but other than to say that I've sided with the side that Vera said that the drug war, you all are doing everything that you say you want to do, except without turning it into a police state, and it's not stopping things, but there's no sense arguing about it because right now...
You don't want to see kids on drugs, do you?
No, but I mean, they're using them anyway, but right now...
We can stop them.
It's senseless arguing about ending the drug war.
No, we can stop them. I need to know something. We can do this. We can for you to say that we are not going to stop our children from taking drugs is to give up and say that it's futile, and it is not. It is not
I think
futile.
everybody,
we have to.
There's a lot of different things. No one, like Mr. Atkinson, was trying to quiz me on a 5-second solution. No one has one, and the guy that tells you that he does, or the person that tells you they do, they're just so full of it.
No, listen. Oh, then I'm full of it because I have
Jim,
I have a solution.
There's a lot of things it's going to take.
Dan, I have a solution of how to reclaim this city. In fact, I'm the one person in the city that knows how to do it, and we're going to start tomorrow night.
Well, that's great, Jim, but I think that it's not as simplistic. It's going to be multifaceted.
It is multifaceted, but it's very simple. And this is how you do it. The police work in partnership with parents and citizens in the community, okay, along with grandparents and children. Everybody comes out into the street, and everyone knows what they're, they ask the children on the street, what are you doing here? You pay attention. So when the gangsters come into the streets, okay, when the gangsters start lurking, you pay attention to what they're doing and get them off the streets.
Well, you're outlining virtually community-oriented policing, of which I know something about.
Talking of, that's right. I call it community parenting. You want to hang on for a second, Dan? They tell me I got to take a break.
Okay.
Clara, don't you go away. You're next. Stephen Littleton, you're after him, and Peggy in Denver, and I promise I'll get to everybody quickly. Talking with Vera Berdova here. We're talking about the drug war. Do you think the drug war is good? Do you want to see drugs off the street? Do you want to see it legalized? I don't. I want to see the criminals and the drug dealers the hell off the streets.
You're listening to Alternative Talk Radio on KNUS.
You should have your brakes and alignment checked on your off-road four-wheel drive vehicle once a year. This is Jann Scott for Off-Road LTD, sponsors of the motor racing segment on a Sunday night talk. Off-Road LTD, Colorado's largest 4x4 and VW toy store. 15 years experience building or repairing any part of your four-wheel drive. Off-Road LTD at Chambers and 6 or call 367-9666. Off-Road LTD has the best four-wheel drive service department in Denver.
Hello.
Sandy, it's Sears 3 sizes 1 price mattress event.
It's 4 a.m.
Sears has king or queen mattresses for the price of a full.
We'll leave for Sears at 9.
Queen size Spring Air Dreamer mattress sets are just $199.98.
A queen size set for under $200? Pick me up in 5 minutes.
Get a king or queen size mattress for the price of a full at Sears Home Life and most Sears stores through Saturday. King and queen sizes sold in sets only.
You can count on me, Sears Roebuck and Company. It's a little tricky getting my kids to eat wholesome snacks.
Shh, be very, very quiet.
And yesterday in the cookie aisle,
Ooh, I thought I saw a putty tan.
I found Bugs Bunny graham snacks.
What's up, Doc?
Wholesome, bite-sized graham characters that come in cinnamon or chocolate. Now my kids love to munch on.
Wascoey Wabbit.
The Looney Tunes characters are the trademarks of the Warner Brothers. New Bugs Bunny graham snacks from Nabisco. That's all, folks.
Tapes of tonight's show are $15, including shipping and handling. To order tonight's tape, call Jan's producer, Steve, right now at 935-7100. To talk with Jann Scott live on Talk Radio and be heard by thousands of people all over Colorado, call 935-7100 or long distance 1-800-533-0071. And now, back to Denver's late night talk guy, Jann Scott, here on KNUS.
Okay, let's go to line 2. Clara in Denver. Clara, hi, you're on the air. Clara?
Hi.
Hello.
Could I just talk to Vera without you interrupting for a few minutes?
Probably not.
I know that's why I didn't tune in right away when I got in my car tonight.
Hi, Clara.
Oh, hi. Listen, I'm so glad that I have been hearing you. It's not only the voice of reason and sanity, it's the voice of a woman.
Oh, so you want to see our kids on more drugs?
No,
is that it, Clara?
I'm serious. I'll deal with you if I have to, but
you're dealing with me right now. This is my show, so you have no choice.
I wanted to say that. I meant to say that first. I honor you because it is your show, and I honor...
No, look at Clara. Let's cut the crap. Do you want to see kids taking drugs on the street? That's the issue here.
Don't take his bite.
The issue is what she was saying. It's about what's happening in this country. You talk about what social services is up to in Boulder in terms of people trying to be good parents, but the threat of what their children can do in retaliation.
That's right.
And that is the same issue as what she's saying about the DEA. And the gentleman who was on the phone just after 11 saying, you can go to jail for not cutting your grass. He's right.
Oh, that's ridiculous. No. Where can you go to jail for not cutting your grass?
Listen, if you and I could talk privately, I'd tell you about that.
No, tell me publicly.
No.
Nobody knows who you are.
Listen.
Clara, what do you want to talk about?
No. Listen, let's get this straightened out right now. You're telling me that you can go to jail for cutting your grass. I want to know where.
I will not talk about this.
I know you will not, because there's no damn place in America where you're going to go. You're another communist who's calling in here with a bunch of garbage.
I'm really not. Let me speak to that. I feel I'm very much in it like the person that Vera is, even though I.
Yeah, she wants to see more drugs in the damn street.
No, please,
baloney.
Please don't bring up the drug issue.
This is the drug issue. That's what we're talking about. There's one way to stop drugs in this country, okay? You take the drug dealers, you throw them in jail, okay? You stop the drugs from coming into the country, and you crack down on it.
That's the communist solution. Seal the borders and build more jails. That's what the communists were doing to us when I was growing up.
For drug dealing?
No, for ideas.
Yeah, well, we don't throw people in jail in this country for ideas.
Well, you do it for other things, but it's the same damn prescription that doesn't work.
No. Drugs are totally different. Drugs are killing the people.
That's what the communists, they had excuses too, you know?
No, this is not an excuse. Drugs are really bad for us. They're killing us. Drugs are killing people, and we have our children turned into wild children. They're shooting one another out there.
Mr. Scott, look, I will. I promise you. I'll talk to you if
no, just get to the bottom line, because I'm about to cut you off, so state the bottom line. You have 30 seconds.
I didn't get to hear the beginning of the program. I'd like to know a little more about Vera. She obviously has an accent. She mentioned Czechoslovakia. Is that her native
Look,
country?
you're gone. Goodbye. Let's go to Stephen Littleton. Stephen, you're on the air. You guys get to the bottom line here. All these phones are filled. You know, if you've been listening, you know what we're talking about. And the real issue are getting the drugs and the gangsters off the streets of this country. And, you know, if you think legalizing marijuana will do it or legalizing crack will do it, you know, let's talk about it. But don't call me up and screw around with me. Stephen, go ahead.
How you doing tonight?
Good, sir.
Well, this whole conversation is just completely ridiculous. Everybody out there should know that drugs are completely bad for you. And from this whole conversation, what Vera says, she's not an advocate of drugs. This whole conversation is leading to drugs. She thinks drugs should be legalized.
I do not.
Vera's sitting in here lying through her teeth is what's really going on. She's one of these Hemp Initiative pro-drug people, and she's blaming the police and blaming those of us who are trying to get our kids to off drugs. You know, I mean, it's just she's twisting this whole thing around along with her facts. But go ahead, Steve.
Jen, would you, for some reason, insist on insulting me and saying that I'm saying something that I'm not saying?
You started out from the very beginning saying that this country, that Americans were taking more alcohol and drugs when we founded it, which is a complete lie.
Alcohol, I said.
Okay, or any other substance. You said marijuana too. I mean, we haven't. We're not doing that.
Check it out.
I have checked it out. I know what the numbers are. We're packaging substances in a way that we have never done it before. We have a critical addiction epidemic.
You're repeating yourself, Jen, and it's going nowhere.
It's going someplace. You're dead wrong, and you're dead wrong on your facts.
People like you have been at it for 75 years or more, and the solutions
are
not coming.
I want to see our kids off drugs, and I want to see them not being killed out there, and everything.
I would like to have the same goal. I do have the same goal.
Okay, well, then you need to get your facts straight. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, Vera, your whole conversation keeps leading to this single point that you want drugs legalized. Give me a yes or no answer. Do you want hemp
I am not a legalization advocate.
Then change your topics around to the point going back to drugs being legalized.
Pardon?
Your topics keep relating to drugs being legalized.
I am talking about how the drug war is not a solution to the problems that drugs have brought to this country. A lot of these problems are, of course, related to the drug war itself. What I'm saying is the drug warriors don't have the solution. They're bringing about a police state. I don't want to see this country to turn into a police state. I already lived in one.
You don't understand. We have gangsters out there. Don't you get the picture? There are gangsters. This city has 5,000 drug-dealing, gun-carrying gangsters. 5,000 in 1980.
And what are you going to do about that?
We're going to get them stopped and get them off drugs. They're taking over the country.
With what?
They're gun-toting anarchists. What do you suggest?
I suggest that America falls on its tradition of diversity and experimentation. I suggest a repeal of the federal drug prohibition. Let locals take over the control.
Here we go.
Give power to the states and the people so they can experiment with solutions.
These people are
if they want, they can run a stricter drug war than they have today.
You're out of
but
your
it'll
mind.
be the locals.
You go tell that to one of those gangbangers over there in 5 Points, and they'll put a bullet through you. Anything else, Stephen?
This just one more point about the drug war. The only way you can win the war is attack it at the source.
And what's the source?
Peru, the Colombians, all that. You need to go.
You attack one country and another will jump in and produce the same amount or more.
No, see, well, he's right. You have to attack it on the supply and the demand end. And we didn't do a good enough job. We need to increase the drug war, not decrease it. See, the problem is people like Vera have you're really sacrificing our children. The DEA and the cops are the good guys. The bad guys are out there. They just shot a 3-year-old kid tonight at 7:30 years old. At 7:30 tonight. Another 3-year-old boy was shot at 36th and Josephine tonight by a drug dealer, by a person on drugs. That's the problem. We have roaming gangs of anarchist wild children in this country carrying guns and dealing drugs. We need to get it stopped, and legalizing it is not the answer.
No, legalizing is not the answer.
You just told me, you said stop the federal prohibition. You just said that here a second ago.
I said return power to the states and the people.
So
they can experiment with solutions that are appropriate for their location.
Legalizing the stuff ain't appropriate. Steve, anything else?
Let the people decide. Let them
People
experiment.
have decided.
It's the bureaucrats in Washington that decide for us, and I'm sick of that.
No. I know. This is the Hemp Initiative routine again. Okay, Steve, got to go. Peggy in Denver, you're up next. You're on the air, Peggy. Hello, Peggy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Hi.
Part of the reason I was calling, I've been listening for a while, and I listen to KNUS pretty regularly. I did want to say, first of all, that there is a man that was arrested in Adams County for not cutting his weeds. Second of all, one of the main reasons I was calling is I just spent 4 months in Children's Hospital with my daughter. And I have seen children, including one that was shot by gang members over a whatever. Anyway, if you can catch the teenagers the first time they get arrested with drugs, the first time they get their DUI, and force them to go down to the trauma centers and watch the children go through the pain and suffering they go through, then that would help.
I'll vote for that.
Pardon?
I said I'll vote for that.
I have been seeing so many children down at that children's hospital, and everything that I've been through, and mine wasn't gang violence or anything like that, but if you can start when they're young, you teach them when they're young, and when the first time they cause a problem or get caught at doing something wrong, you show them the consequences of their actions.
I think that's a great suggestion, Peggy.
I know that there are a lot of people that are willing to go out and help. Going out into the streets and showing people you're not going to put up with it is another really good idea. I won't be able to come out there because I'm not going to put myself or my children in jeopardy to do so at this point.
I'll tell you something, that we're going to have lights at King Super. The police department and the 3rd District will be there. The governor's going to be there tomorrow night, and bring a candle when you come. And we will be in the parking lot there in Capitol Hill, so it'll be safe.
Well,
I can tell you that. There'll be more cops there than you can shake a stick at. This will be the last place criminals are going to want to go.
Well, I really hope so, and I'm really glad to know that the biggest problem that I see lately...
I want to tell you something, Peggy. Every time that there is gang violence and drug dealing going on our streets, in 2 days, okay, we've set up a commando unit here at KNUS. We're going to go onto the streets. We'll be on the streets in 2 days doing this show from that place, and we will help reclaim and take the city back from the gangsters, the drug dealers, and the shooters.
How many of you really believe that?
Well, I would have to say that...
You're a fatalist. You're
no,
you are total.
I'm a realist.
No, you are a total fatalist. You have given up. You have given up on life. You've given up on this country,
and
I haven't.
Nonsense.
That's not nonsense. You have given up. I haven't given up. The American people will rise to the cause.
I am not here.
We're going to solve this
I'm involved
problem.
in this issue because I have not given up, and I think
Well, you just said
Americans
you
can
have.
do
You
far
ju-
better than they're doing.
You just said you have. You said how many of you actually believe that? We will take this city back,
I don't
and we will
believe
take the
that
street
you
back.
will through the
Oh, yes,
tactics
we will.
that you advocate.
All I advocate is let's get onto the street and take the city back. The people can do it. Thanks, Peggy. Got to go. Lyle in Arvada, you're up next. And we got one line open, 9357100. You can jump in now, and the 800 number is open, 1-800-533-0071. We'll be at King Soopers tomorrow night, 9 to midnight. Bring a candle. Come on by. Bring the American flag. Bring the Colorado flag. Everybody on the right, the left, let's join together and take this city back. I'm Jann Scott, the drug fighter on KNUS.
This is Underground Talk Radio, the voice of freedom on KNUS.
Hi, I'm Brent Tinker. I met Lee Ridner in 1990. I decided to use his clinical hypnosis program for weight control. I had had a weight control problem all my life and used countless diets, supplements, and exercise routines. Most worked well initially, but nothing lasted long term. With hypnosis, I've changed why, what, and when I eat. I've lost more than 80 pounds and kept it off for over 2 years without calorie counting or deprivation. Lee is a compassionate, competent, and caring therapist. Thanks to Lee, I'm no longer a prisoner of habitual cravings.
Have you tried diets but found that nothing lasted? I'm Lee Ridner, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner with over 20 years of experience. I stopped smoking and simultaneously lost 66 pounds using the same clinical hypnosis that I'll teach you. Call me at 979-5498 to lose weight, stop smoking, or make other changes. That's Lee Ridner, certified clinical hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner at 979-5498.
There's a new credo for automotive service at Sears. We call it Driven to Satisfy. It means every associate has one priority, to make certain you're satisfied. So when you need brakes or shocks, they'll go to extra lengths to give you a free inspection fast, to explain everything, and to have your car ready when promised. Come to Sears Tire and Auto Center. We think you'll like the way it feels to be with people who really are driven to satisfy.
School's out. Report cards are in. If that report card said, get help with reading this summer, try Hooked on Phonics. Hooked on Phonics is a fun and easy way to sound out and read most of the words in the English language. So from preschool to high school. This summer, let Hooked on Phonics be your personal reading tutor. Maybe this fall, you'll be at the head of the class. Call Hooked on Phonics, 1-800-ABCDEFG.
How do you like tonight's show? Write your best, funniest, most outrageous, praising, or insulting letter on tonight's show and win a dinner for two if Jan reads your letter on the air. Write as many and as often as you like to Letters to Jan, KNUS Radio, 5800 West Alameda, Lakewood, Colorado 80226. And now we return to tonight's Late Night Talkmaster. It's Jann Scott at 935-7100 or 1-800-533-0071.
Okay, we're talking with Vera Berdova is here this evening, and she has a book out on hemp called The Future of Hemp, a study circle resource book. She's in studio. We've been going at it here for the past hour or two. She doesn't think the drug war is good. I think it is good. I think that drug dealers and gangbangers should be put in prison. I mean, I think maybe even worse should be done to them, and I'm in favor of not seeing our kids on drugs or on violence, and I think that we can take this city back, all of us together in a unified action, and that's a partnership between parents, police, citizens, government, every one of us, and we are now called to the task, considering all the violence that has taken place here in Denver. And so far, you have not given me one solution for the violence in this city. Or in Boulder. It started in Boulder now. Now there are drive-by shootings in Boulder. The kids are totally out of control up on the hill right now. I mean, they lost the hill this summer. There are kids up there dealing drugs, taking them, and they're carrying handguns. How do you stop those kids?
I think that each community should come up with their own solutions. not rely on the government, not rely on distant bureaucrats, but rely on themselves.
We have dangerous kids out on the street. We got to do something right now. Let's go to the phones. We'll talk with Lyle in Arvada. Lyle, you're up next.
Hi, Jan. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
As a conservative Republican, I'm a strong advocate for the legalization and regulated distribution of all recreational drugs.
Well, would you include crack there?
Sure, you bet.
And heroin? The problem is
if it's regulated and controlled by the FDA, and you bet.
The problem is this, Lyle, that the addiction epidemic will go up 4 times if you do that. And the problem with drugs is people lose their inhibitors. They do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do, and it makes people really crazy. So
that's a myth.
That is
Don't you believe that?
That is not a myth. I mean, I've worked in addictions for the past 15 years. You see, the problem with you, Vera, is you don't know what the Christ you're talking about. You are really stupid. We're going to go to Mike in Denver.
And
you're on line 2.
An insulting bastard.
Well, I am insulting to people that want to see this country go down the drain. Mike in Denver, you're on the air.
Okay. I'm going to tell you a story about my dad. Started doing alcohol, went on to marijuana, did heroin, did armed robbery, went to Canyon City, died in prison, Christmas Day, 1967. I can take a lot of hyperbole, a lot of rhetoric, but don't you dare tell me that dangerous substances are inanimate objects.
What are they?
They're like gasoline. You put a match on gasoline and what's going to happen?
So how come that only a small percentage of people get addicted? How come that only a small percentage of people, for example, have problems with alcohol, which is a very bad drug?
That's a myth. That's what's not true right there. What Mike's saying is true. That we have, you know how many DUI arrests there are every weekend in Denver alone? In the Denver metro area.
What percentage of the entire amount of drinkers?
DUI, okay, let me tell you how many there are every weekend in this city. 500. And the cops say that they could increase the DUI units by 10-fold and still not get everybody who's drinking and driving. It's a big, big, big problem. The people that say it's a myth are these guys here, you. The ones who are brainwashed that want to see our kids on drugs and want to see people die. Mike is right.
That's right. I just want to see this country go down the drain.
Because you're stupid.
Where would I go? To the moon, right?
You are on the moon when you come up with this nonsense. Anything else, Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I have a friend who was a nice, peaceful man, He went to work every day, supported his kids, no problems. Drank himself to death. His liver gave out. Don't tell me this. The alcohol has so many side...
Alcohol is a bad drug,
yeah,
no
and so is
doubt
marijuana.
about it.
Don't kid yourself. So is marijuana. Don't kid
There's
yourself.
all kinds of substances out there that can have very bad effects. What I'm questioning is, do we really fix that situation by creating a police state, by going to war against Americans?
See, Mike, she does not get this. She's trying to turn this into something that happened in Czechoslovakia, which is, in a way, is really not happening here. What she doesn't get is, and the guy that called before her doesn't understand, is the severe nature of substance abuse addiction. Because they don't get it at all, and it has to do with that river in Egypt.
Yeah. Have a good evening, folks.
Thank you, Mike. You know the river I'm talking about? Denial. Let's go talk with Brett in, where is it, Westminster?
You don't know your stuff either, Jim.
I do know my stuff.
Nobody's perfect. Everybody has...
No, I know. I probably know more about drugs and drug addiction than maybe the top 20 people in this country. I know more about it than anybody in the state of Colorado.
Maybe you don't.
No, there's no maybe about it. I do, and I know an idiot when I come across one, and you're a full-blown idiot. This stuff is total trash that you've written. Brett, go ahead.
Yeah, Jan.
Yes, sir.
Good show tonight. I'm really enjoying this. The drug war has been working over the past few years because we're seeing a marked decrease in use of the major drugs.
That's
but we still have a great percentage of our populations that's doing the drugs.
That's right.
One of the final solutions that we're going to have to get back to is that we need to teach people the natural consequences for their actions. And one of the consequences that we haven't tried out as a society for a long time is the active use of capital punishment. Take these drug dealers, give them one chance. They get busted one time, give them the scarlet letter like the age-old
novel. Would you include alcohol and tobacco dealers as well?
Put this person, tattoo them, put it on their driver's license.
Yeah.
brand this person as a drug dealer one time. Second time, send him off to the death chamber.
Yeah, another thing that I came up with at one point, which would not a bad solution, is you do what the Chinese did. Of course, the Chinese put alcohol and drug dealing as a capital punishment. But another thing that you could do is you could say, take the people who are in prison and say to anyone, okay, if you want to take drugs, this is what we're going to do. We have an A and a B section here in Canyon City, okay? So now if you want to take drugs, you can come here and we're going to give you all the heroin, all the crack, and all the marijuana you want. You can have it for free, and the state will put you up. You come right here and take it, okay? And so there you have it. It'll be legal, but it'll be legalized in a control environment so these people don't go crazy and kill people. And then the B section will be those of you who want to get off drugs and re-enter into the mainstream of society. We have a 7-year treatment program for you to go through, and you can do that, and that's the way to keep the drugs off the street and keep the violence off.
Well, see, with countries that have tried this legalization of different drugs, the big example is Holland.
Yeah, it failed miserably.
In Amsterdam, there's a section where it is legal to do any drugs you want
to. I know.
To.
We just came out last week. Failed totally. They have more people they're putting in prison right now. The crime has skyrocketed. It's a total disaster in the Netherlands. Amsterdam was the major social failure of legalization in this country. Let's see, I don't know who we're going to next, but thanks for your call.
Tobacco is the biggest killer among the psychoactive drugs in this country. Would you execute tobacco dealers as well?
Here comes the break. We'll be back on KNUS.
This is Radio Free Denver on KNUS.
You know, I went on up to my baby.
Join KNUS every Wednesday afternoon at 4:55 when the Denver Spoke proudly presents the weekly cycling feature, Cycling in Colorado, with special host David Nelson. Denver Spoke, great gear, great prices, great service. Denver Spoke, 1715 East Evans, 6 blocks east of DU.
This is Jane Pearson with Theotherapy. Vacations were especially hectic for my parents trying to get 5 little girls ready to leave. One particularly exhausting time, we were backing out of the driveway when my father happened to glance in the front window and saw my 3-year-old sister waving goodbye. Have you forgotten what is really important in life? Don't have this realization after it has waved goodbye. Jane Pearson with Theotherapy on AM 710, the all-new KNUS, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
You can write to Jann Scott, care of KNUS Radio 5800 West Alameda, Lakewood 80226. Talk to Jan right now at 935-7100 or long distance. Call 1-800-801-0071 or fax Jan in the studio right now, 935-5635.
Okay, Vera Berdova is here with us. Vera, do not feel alone if I call you stupid or idiotic, because I say the very same thing about anyone who wants to legalize drugs, including Ken Hamlin or Dr. Dina Dell, who is on this station. Anybody that wants to see drugs legalized or not support the drug war or leave it up to states to legalization, I see purely as murderers of our children, and I won't tolerate it.
And I think it's a poor way to try to win an argument by insulting people.
Not insulting. It's when I say that you're in a stupor, I'm talking about as in a fog. Let's go. Line 1, John in Lakewood, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Good, sir.
Hey, I was wondering, why do you call this Freedom Radio and Underground Radio?
Well, why not, John?
That isn't an answer.
John?
All right.
What's your problem, John?
Well, actually, I think you abuse your guests, your callers, you're rude.
Are you another person who wants to legalize drugs?
What now?
Are you another person who wants to see drugs legalized?
We could get to that in a minute if you want to.
Well, we're not going to get to it. We're going to now move on to Sydney in Lakewood, line 3. You're on the air.
Hey, Jan.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you might as well hang it up. You can't have a debate with somebody who lies. This woman, she needs to get out of the denial stage and, quit smoking so much pot, and then she can come on the radio and have a meaningful debate.
I don't even know. Do you take drugs?
No, I don't.
No, I'm talking to her. Do you take drugs? Do you smoke dope?
I think that's an incriminating question.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just wanting to know if you're... I'd like to know if I'm dealing with somebody who's all here.
Do I use drugs?
Yeah.
I haven't used tobacco, but I have used alcohol.
Oh, there we go. I forgot. Thanks for pointing this out, Sydney. I've been talking to somebody who's been on drugs all night. No wonder.
Hey, could I ask her a question?
Go ahead.
I mean, who does she think the United States government is, the soldiers and the policemen and the DEA agents? They're the sons and daughters of Americans.
She must have dropped in from some other planet.
And so are the people that are in
Czechoslovakia.
prison.
Now, those people deserve to be there because they've been killing our children.
That's
You
your
think they're the
opinion.
good guys. I love this. You think the people who are in prison for dealing drugs and shooting people are the good guys, and the cops are the bad guys. Is that it?
We're all Americans. We're all in this together, and we need
no.
to talk about this without
The-
insults and without the kind of tactics that you use.
The
Jen.
drug dealers are not, we're not in this with them. They are on the outside of society, which is why we have them in prison.
Well, Jan, she's
Most
probably
of
in
them
old
are not in
Hamlin's
prison.
posse of thugs.
Pardon?
You're probably in Ken Hamlin's posse of thugs. You want to just legalize
No, I mean, I'll
everything.
tell you, Hamlin and I certainly agree on one thing. We agree that drug dealers and violent types, you know, the criminals need to be in prison. I mean, Hamlin is not for yanking the cops off the street. That's for damn sure.
And neither am I.
He is in favor of legalization, but the only reason he is because he really is misinformed. He is misguided on that issue.
Yeah, I don't think he's had personal experience with drugs, Jan, and anybody that has would never advocate drug use.
No, I mean, I mean, do you understand how insidious it is and how devastating it is? I mean, just one cigarette gets a kid started on his way to become an addict or an alcoholic. One puff of crack, one joint of marijuana. I mean, it's bad stuff, and we've had an entire liberal agenda lying to us forever about marijuana. And you know,
And I have not come here to advocate drug use by
Oh, yeah, that's what you guys always say. But
except perhaps coffee, which I don't use, but that seems to be fairly innocuous.
What'd you say there, Sydney?
I said keep after him, Jan. You're doing a good job.
All right, come tomorrow night, Sydney.
Oh, King Supers at Capitol Hill?
Yeah, King Supers and Capitol, affectionately known as Queen Supers.
Queen? Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, thanks.
We have a community action there. Bye-bye. 935-710. Is John with us on line 1, or did he go away? We're finished here, right?
Talk to him.
Okay. Well, thanks. Bring a candle tomorrow night when you come. And we're going to be at the King Supers at 9th and Corona. This is a town meeting on ending the violence, running the gangs off the street, taking the street back, taking the neighborhoods back from the drug dealers, the prostitutes, the perverts, and all the bad people. And we can do it. We can reclaim this city street by street. It can happen, and it's happening in other parts of the country, fortunately. And Vera, sorry this turned out to be an unpleasant experience. You might try not to take drugs the next time before you come here. You could
No,
have
it really
a more
hasn't
sensible
been
conversation.
unpleasant at all. It's been an
Oh,
interesting
well, good.
experience.
All right, I know.
And I was not taking drugs, and I
good.
really don't think that this is a good way to argue, Jen.
Well, that's fine. It's this is the way I argue. It's the way I fight. You know where I stand.
You treat people like enemies when they have a different opinion. I don't
No,
particularly
anybody that
enjoy
wants
that.
to see more drugs on the street, see this stuff legalized, is not my
don't.
friend. I know. And you got your facts all wrong, too. Tomorrow night, tomorrow night we will be at King Supers, and come there, join us for the for our town meeting on ending violence. And hopefully it'll go a little differently than this. We'll have some sane people there with some solutions. The governor will be there. We're going to have somebody from the cops there. The cops are the good guys. Remember that. The drug dealers are the bad guys. The criminals and gangbangers we put in prison. The cops are the ones who put them there. Bring a candle if you want to. And we will reclaim one piece of this city for at least 3 hours. We will take this city back for 3 hours at least, from 9 to midnight. All right? You see what we come up against? I purposefully invited this person in here. Pro-hemp person. It's like the pro-crack people. Yes. What are we doing on Friday, Steve? Oh, you know, we may be at the Lodo. I'll let you know more about that. I think on Friday night we may be down at the Lodo Music Festival at the Wine Coop. We'll know more about that tomorrow night. And thanks for being here. We'll let Paul Soderman take us out. Thanks to Steve Widener, our producer, Lane, our engineer this evening. Coming up, Marty Nailitz, After Hours. He'll be here till 3 o'clock in the morning. Continuing on with you. And then tomorrow night's Thursday. No, it's tomorrow night, Thursday night? Is this Wednesday? No, tomorrow night's Wednesday night. Man, I'm already halfway down the road. Did you see the new Time magazine that came out? New Time magazine came out, more on guns. Kids and Guns and Drugs in Time magazine. Pick up the new Westward. It's all about the Nazis and the right-wing skinheads. See you tomorrow night. And we'll be live at King Soopers. Come on by. Help us reclaim the neighborhood and bring your group, okay? 9 to midnight at 9th and Corona. I'm Jann Scott. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're listening to the only uncensored talk radio program in Denver, coming to you from the designated free zone time slot on AM 710 KNUS.
You're tuned to AM 710, the all-new KNUS Denver, and AM 1130, the all-new KHTH Dillon Breckenridge.
From the CNN News Center in Atlanta, I'm Larry Maher. The most intense military offensive by Israel in more than a decade is now in its fourth day. Israeli warplanes bombing suspected guerrilla outposts in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, while artillery